Hyperbola, extra practice. I'll put this up on Canvas. I'll record this now. For your test, your final test, and for your quiz, you guys are allowed to have notes, okay? This, to me, is the most important. What's on here, highlighted in yellow, excuse me, I have the hiccups. The most important. Hyperbolas can either be horizontal or vertical. If it's an x squared, if x is first, it's a horizontal parabola, hyperbola. If it's a y first, it's a vertical, all right? That's very important to understand. A is the distance from the center to the vertices. C is the distance from the center to the foci. These are the equations in standard form. These are the equations of the asymptotes. You should have this somewhere in front of you so it's real easy. You guys, whoa, you don't have to like go all over trying to find it. So today I'm going to do number 1. I'm going to do number 4, and I'll do something on the bottom. So if we look at number 1, all right, it says identify the vertices, the foci, and the asymptotes. So vertices, that's your A. Think about that. Foci is the C. The asymptotes, we're going to use those formulas. So in a question like this, I have negative x squared plus 25y squared plus 50y equals 0. That's nowhere near in standard form what we need it to look like. So let's work this problem out so we can get it in standard form. So I'm going to take my 25y squared, and I'm going to take my 50y plus the box because we're going to complete the square. And then I'm going to say negative x squared and then equals 0. Do you guys see what I did? I just moved stuff around, correct? Y'all with me? Okay. All right. So, having done that, if I want y squared to have a positive 1 as its coefficient, what can I take out of 25y squared and 50y? What can I take out? 25. Thank you. So I'm going to factor that out, and I'm left with y squared plus what? 2y plus the box, right? All right. And then I'm left with minus x squared equals 0. So if I'm going to complete the square here, I take 2. 2 divided by 2 is what? 1. So my parenthesis is y plus 1 quantity squared. Right? I still have that 25. Now I have 1 here. Am I multiplying or am I adding just 1 to this left-hand side of my equation? It's the 25 and the 1, right? So what's 25 times 1? 25. So if I have 25 on the left-hand side, then I have 25 on the right-hand side. Everybody see that? You guys with me? We okay? Okay, then I have minus x squared. Do I have anything to complete the square with the x squared? Is there any x term that's just x to the first power? Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Is there anything over here that's x to the first power that I have to use to complete the square? No. All right, so we're close to standard form, but we're not in standard form because what should our ellipse equal? I mean, what am I talking about? What should our hyperbola equal? 1. So what do we need to divide everything by? 25. Good. So I am left with y plus 1 squared over what? What happens to the 25s? So this becomes a 1. Then I have minus x squared over 25 equals what number? 25 divided by 25 is? 1. Now I can tell a lot of things because I'm now in standard form. What kind of a hyperbola is this? Is it vertical or horizontal? Vertical. It's a vertical. Why do you know it's vertical? Vertical. Because the y is first. Good. What is my a value? Yep, because a squared is 1, so square root of 1 is 1. What is my c value? Do we know?
No.
Do we know right now what C is? No. We know what B is, though. What's B? 5. Good. And how would I figure out what C is?
Um,
C squared equals?
B squared
a squared plus b squared. So c squared equals 1 squared plus 5 squared. What does c squared equal?
The square root of
26, right? So then I take the square root, and c equals the square root of 26. What is my center? Where's the center of my hyperbola? Center is, the h is with the x, the k is with the y. So what's my center?
0, -1.
Thank you, ma'ams. Both of you, 0, -1. Now, if I asked you guys to find the vertices and to find the foci, right? Vertices goes from the center, which are centers right here, right? Vertices is center, the distance from the center, right? You guys, are you with me? Okay. The distance from the foci to the center is the c value. So if this is a vertical goes up and down. What part of my center moves this point up and down? The x part or the y part? So if you have a vertical hyperbola, what you should be adding and subtracting to is the y part. So my vertice, if I add 1, right? If I add 1 to my y part, where's one of my foci? One of my vertices, I'm sorry. Okay, so there's one at 0, 0. And if I subtract 1, it's where? 0, -2. Good. For the foci, again, we're moving up and down. So I would say my foci is at 0, -1 plus root 26. 0, -1 minus root 26. If I asked you guys to tell me what the equation of the asymptotes are, what kind of a hyperbola are we talking about here? You guys told me it was vertical, right? So then I use this equation, y equals k plus or minus what over what? A over b times x minus h. You guys already know what your h and k are, and you already know what a and b is. So let's figure this out. What is my k value of my center? -1. So I have -1 plus or minus. What is a and what is b?
1
So 1 over 5 times x minus h. What's my h value?
0.
Good. So you have two equations here, guys, because you have two asymptotes. You have -1 plus 1/5 times x, and you have y equals -1 minus 1/5 times x, correct? If you're going to write that in the equation of a line, you'd have y equals 1/5 x minus 1, and you'd have y equals -1/5 x minus 1. And you could graph those two. I'm not asking you to on your quiz and on your final. You're not graphing any of these, but you have to be able to identify all of these things. Once you get into this form, if you can tell from your answer choices which one is going to be in slope-intercept form from there, that's fine. If you can't, separate it and use your algebra skills to find out what's what. Does that make sense? All right, let's go. Go to number 4. Come on. Same thing. What's the first problem you see here?
4y squared minus 61.
Okay, so we need to move this 16 over here, right? And what do we need to do with the 32? It needs to be on the other side. So we can write this as -32 equals 4y squared plus 16y minus x squared, right? Yes? No? Maybe? You guys all right with that? We can move the variables to the left-hand side. If I move x squared over, it becomes positive, right? Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay. So then if I move my y squared over, it becomes what? Negative. Okay, so negative 4y squared. That's fine. Then I have negative 16y equals 32. You guys like the way it looks better? That's fine. Same thing, but that's fine. So I have x squared, and then I have minus 4y squared minus 16y, and I'm going to have to complete the square here because I have a y squared and a y. Everybody see that? Everybody with me? We're okay. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. What can I take out of negative 4y squared and a negative 16y? Negative 4. So I'm left with y squared plus what? 4y plus the box equals 32. So I have x squared minus 4. What is my parenthesis going to look like here? I take my b term and divide it by 2. What does that give me? 2. So it's going to be y plus 2 squared. And then I put, what's 2 squared? That goes in the box here. But is that the only thing? And did I just multiply this side by 4? I have to remember this 4 out here. Good. So negative 4, positive 4 gives me what? No, multiply. Minus 16, right? So when I simplify this, 32 minus 16 gives me 16. Are we in complete standard form of a hyperbola? No. What should it equal? Should equal 1. So what can I divide everything by so this equals 1? 16. Good. So I have x squared over 16 minus what?
Y plus 2 squared over 4.
Perfect. Equals 1. Now you guys can tell me a gajillion things. What kind of a hyperbola is this? Why is it horizontal? Because the x is first. Good. That means when I'm talking about vertices and foci, my A and C, I'm going to add and subtract to which value? To my h or to my k? I'm going to add to the h. Very good, because we're moving left to right. So you guys can tell me now what the center is. What's my center?
0,
Perfect. 0, negative 2. What is my a value?
16,
Nope.
4,
Where'd you get 4 from?
16,
Good, because this is a squared, so this would be 4. What is my b value?
2,
Good. And then how do I find c?
C equals
C squared equals 4 squared plus 2 squared? 16 plus 4. So c squared equals 20. What's c equal? Which is?
2 square root of 5.
Thank you, ma'am. 2 square root of 5. So, vertices. Vertices is the distance from the center to the vertice. How far is it from the center to the vertice? How many units either direction? Vertices goes with what letter, guys? Ver- okay, but A, B, or C?
A.
A, okay, good. So my vertices, I'm going to add and subtract the A value from the center. So what's 0 plus 4? So 4, negative 2. And then what's 0 minus 4? Negative 4, negative 2. Good. If I want to find the foci, what letter do I look at for foci? A, B, or C? C. And again, we're moving left to right. So I'm going to add and subtract that number, that value from the x part of my center. So it would be what? 2 root 5, comma, negative 2. And what? Negative 2 root 5, comma, negative 2. Good. Now for the asymptotes, this is a horizontal or a vertical? You guys just told me. So it's b over a. So I have y equals k plus or minus b over a times x minus h. All right, don't freak out because you guys might have to do a little bit of work here. Y equals, what is the k part of my center? Okay, so I have negative 2 plus or minus. What is b and what is a? 2 over 4. It's It's a fraction, okay? X minus, good. So I know that x minus 0 is just x, right? So you have two equations here. It's y equals -2 plus 1/2 x and -2 minus 1/2 x. How would you write those in y equals mx plus b? 1/2 x minus 2 and y equals -1/2 x minus 2. Again, you need to be able to write the equation of the asymptote. If you know the center and you know the a over b, and you also should have the equation written in front of you, it should be super easy to just fill stuff in and then just distribute as needed. Questions? Nobody has any questions? All right, which one do you want to do? 5 or 6, and we're done. Want to do 5? Okay. I'm going to do it down here in the black. It says, use the information provided to write the standard form of each hyperbola. Okay, so let's just draw ourselves a little picture, see what we have working with here. My vertices are at -10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoops. Hold on, I gotta count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. -10 and positive what? -10, positive 5. And then down here at -19. Seriously? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, pretend this is 19. How do I find the center? Midpoint formula, okay? So I'm going to say it's the middle of this, right? So I would say -10 plus -10 is -20 divided by 2 is -10. Then I have 5 and -19. What's 5 and -19? -14 divided by 2 is? So my center is at what? -10, -7. Agreed? So my H and my K is -10, -7. What kind, look at the line here. What kind of a hyperbola am I going to create? What kind of a line did I just draw right there? Where all of my information is, it's all along what? A vertical line, right? So the standard form of my equation should start with what letter? Yes. So everybody can look back up here. It's y minus k, quantity squared over a squared, minus what? X minus h, quantity squared over b squared equals what number? What should it always equal, guys? 1. Thank you. All right, now we can figure some stuff out here. I can figure out my A, I can figure out my B, and I can figure out my C. I already know what my center is. Where is my center? -10, -7. Since we're moving up and down, how do I figure out where things are going? Am I adding and subtracting from the x value of the center or from the y value of the center? From the y, all right? So help me out here. What do I know? The distance from the center to the focus is 4 radical 10. Very good. C is 4 square roots of 10. How else can I figure something else out? Yeah, Kennedy says, how can I figure out what A is? What is A? Remind me again what the value of A is. The distance from where? The center to a what? To a vertice. So how far is the point -10, -7 from -10, -19? 12 spaces? I agree with you. So A is 12. How do I find out what B is? C squared equals A squared plus B squared. So 4 root 10 squared equals 12 squared plus B squared. If I have 4 radical 10 squared, this 2 goes to the 4 and to the what? Okay, so 4 squared is 16. And then radical 10 squared is, so 4 times, right? We good? Okay. What's 12 squared? Plus b squared. So I have 160 equals 144 plus b squared. Now what do? Subtract 144 from both sides. So b squared equals, so what's b equal? Do you guys now have enough information to write the equation of this hyperbola? Yep. You need the center and you need what 2 values? A and B. So tell me what my equation of this hyperbola is. I'll write it over here to the right. Y, what? Minus a negative gives me what? Okay, y plus 7 quantity squared over what? Which is? Good. Minus x. There you go. There you go. Over equals. Good. Very good. You guys see that? All right, so on your quiz, right, on your quiz Thursday, half of the quiz is coming from hyperbola stuff. So it'll be stuff like this, you do not have to graph, and it'll be stuff like the first part of the senior test review. Tomorrow I'll go over the vertex practice, which is the second page of this. And then Wednesday we'll go over any questions you might have to get you ready for your quiz. But your quiz is only over hyperbola stuff and quadratic stuff. I will upload this video right now.